Welcome to another episode of the Limitless Podcast with Dr.TonyHolmes. I am your host, and today I have one of the GOATs, the OGs, the greatest of all time people in the world right here. I'm honored to be sitting next to the Brian Allen. How you doing, sir?
I'm actually pretty good.
Yeah, you pretty good?
I'm pretty good.
Despite the pothole?
Despite the pothole, I'm still good.
Look, the devil be busy. Yeah. This man literally hit a pothole on his way here. Yeah. Did you say you cracked your rim?
I'm sure it's cracked. I didn't see any tire damage, so it's usually a cracked rim when that happens. So.
And you still made it.
Still made it.
And you always calm, cool, and collected. We've been knowing each other for a very long time. And sure many people in the world who know you will say the same thing. So how do you keep yourself so regulated like that? Because a pothole on the way to something would have probably had me.
I can't make that determine the rest of my day. Of course, it made me mad because I deal with potholes a lot, driving, especially on the east side. So that's why I don't come over here much anymore. But anyway, dealing with potholes is just something you deal with, or dealing with potholes in life. But you can't let that determine how the rest of your day is going to go, how the rest of your month or year is going to go. So you just kind of shake it off and keep it moving. Like, I could have sat there and, Tony, I'm not coming, I got a flat, or I got to change this tire, I got dirt on my shirt. But what would that have done?
And you changed it yourself.
Yep.
See, it's so already dropping some serious wisdom just off of the first 5 minutes. So I can't wait to just talk more. So what kinds of things are going on right now in BA, Mr. Allen, Brian Allen's life?
You got time for that?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, my gosh. This has been a whirlwind for me. I retired in December, which was great. I'm excited about that. And after that, I was, my dream was to just travel the world and start my business, which I started before I retired, and do some work periodically. But then life happens. I did go to Africa for 3 weeks, which was great. Came back. My cousin died. We dealt with that as a family. Was at her funeral on that Friday. Then my brother got killed that Sunday by a wrong-way driver. So since then, it's kind of like I've been campaigning and trying to raise awareness on wrong-way driving and wrong-way deaths, like contacting every agency in the state of Texas, every city council, county government, state government, highway department. I've been busy. I've literally have sent over 100 plus emails to individuals and agencies since this has happened. So, but I'm learning that my time is not their time because the responses have been extremely slow. So nobody wants to own it. So that's why I'm fighting.
So they're passing around like a hot potato, basically.
Yep.
So let's go back to something. So you said you retired, and for the people that don't know, tell us about the work that you were doing before you retired, because it seems very full circle to what you just explained you were dealing with.
The last part of my career in Galena Park ISD, I was Senior Director for Security and Emergency Management. So crisis management, emergency management was what I dealt with. So for all 28 campuses, 13 facilities, stadium, and auditorium, I was basically in charge of the safety of the faculty, staff, and students that enter and exit those buildings.
One guy.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay, just making sure.
But not just the physical aspect of security, also the emergency operations plans, just making sure the training is complete, the required trainings that are mandated. Quite a bit of work that went into that, which is most people don't think that it's stressful, but it was a very stressful job. Because at the end of the day, I was responsible for 22,000 kids' safety. So, and it didn't stop at 4 o'clock when I got off work. It was a constant.
And we're talking about East Houston.
Yeah. It was a constant worry. That's why I didn't have any hesitation when it came time to retire.
You passed that on proudly.
You can have it. So, but I don't get me wrong. I thoroughly enjoyed what I did. But with all that's going on with school shootings and violence, it's super stressful. Very stressful.
Let's talk about your business now, your consulting practice, your training and development, whatever you call this now. Protect Ed, right?
Correct. That's what it's called.
Let's talk about that.
Protect Ed Consulting is my business. One of my things that I do is I want to make sure students are safe. I had one private school reach out to me, and she couldn't afford the prices, which is fine, because at the end of the day, I'd rather your students at your campus be safe than you putting money in my pocket. Because I'm not saying I don't need the money, but I'd rather your students be safe. So I do the mandated audits for campuses or school districts, emergency operations plan development, all the annexes that go with those emergency plans, which are new ones added every year that are required to be submitted to the state, so I can develop those. Intruder detection audits, all those things that are required by the state of Texas, that campuses, public or private or charter, I can do those things, safety related. Getting prepared for district vulnerability assessments, all those things my company can do.
Wow. So. And if I'm not mistaken, Governor Greg Abbott just put a lot of money into this whole thing when it comes to school safety. He's doubled, if not tripled down on that. Have you seen that be something that has already kind of started to impact your business?
I think I can see it because now, and it's kind of funny, but I hadn't really started marketing, but I think districts and charter schools and private schools, they're receiving funds to do these required things. So I think it's making it easier for me because they have to get it done, number one. And number two, hey, I heard about this guy's company that can do it. So now that they have the money, it's not a hesitation anymore. So I think that's what's making it go smoothly for me. I hadn't started marketing really at all. So
Can you tell us something different real quick? I want to talk about how important it is to stay in the know of things, because what I just mentioned is something that you already knew about, probably knew before I even mentioned it when it comes to just being aware of what's going on at the state level or just in the news. Like, how important is that for our community?
It's extremely important, and I can't stress that enough. A lot of times, and I don't want to say people in my age range, but I will, and older, we don't stay in the know. Like, people always bash social media, but I learn a lot from social media. I am a TikToker. I love it because I want to be in the know, especially when it comes to the things that are important to me. Different takes on it, and all that information can be found via social media. So a lot of times people get complacent with where they are. And with that complacency, your organization can't grow. So I'm always looking for ways to level up or to do something simpler, because simplicity is everything. Because if you can do something simple, it'll take you a longer way than it would be if you're doing it the same old way. Oh, this is how we always done it. But that could be a better way. So let's try to figure out what that better way is. And it becomes kind of frustrating for me because I'm always looking like, okay, if they do this, then this could happen. Like last night, funny story. I go to Potholes every weekend. Been going for 20 plus years, every weekend. So I want to tell them, like, when they clean off the bar area, they always have a wet rag that is wringing wet with water. So they wipe, and then they take handfuls of paper towels to dry it. Instead of wringing around the towel, like, you're wasting money on paper towels. I want to ask Potholes, how much do y'all spend on paper towels? Because it's just something simple like that. I'm always looking for ways to simplify things, and like I say, I just can't turn it off, and which is good and bad. But I'm always looking for ways to simplify stuff, and I really want to know how much they spend on paper towels at Potholes, because they all do it, and I think that's the culture, because maybe they saw Jane Doe do it, and now I'm doing it, and get this wringing wet towel and just and get 25 paper towels to dry it off. I know that's kind of
no, it's not.
No, what
it's
I'm
not.
saying,
It's
but
not.
I hope that makes sense.
No,
I'm always looking for ways to improve.
Yeah.
And if it's usually I find ways to improve stuff via social media. Like I'm addicted to TikTok. I'm not embarrassed to say it. And people my age probably look at me like, really? It's a lot of information there, especially comes to stuff with the TikTok shop. Like it's always something that's out there to improve or simplify something that you're doing.
Man.
And I hate when people that are older was like, this is how we've always done it. That doesn't make it get right. Like if there's a better way, let's do that.
Man, you struck a nerve when you said TikTok shop. I want to say, shout out to TikTok shop. My dad's 75 years old and he buying stuff off TikTok.
For real?
Shop. Yeah,
Love
he putting
it.
me on stuff. I'm like, what you doing with these
yeah.
cool glasses? Oh yeah, I get you some on TikTok shop. $8. I'm like, okay. Let's go back to something about complacency though. Do you feel like complacency and fear kind of go together? Like people are afraid to change?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. They're synonymous. We want to operate in what we know. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have not operated out of fear and complacency. I stayed on my same job for 30 years. So I did get comfortable. And that's one thing I admire about your age group. Because y'all will quit a job in a minute. And I love it. I love that for y'all. Y'all don't wait. You guys don't become complacent. And if there's a better opportunity, and loyalty doesn't exist with y'all, which is not a bad thing. I commend you guys for that. But complacency and fear, they definitely go hand in hand. A lot of times we want to achieve things by waiting, not by doing. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. So.
Man, that's a word right there. Now you dropping words. It is Sunday. It reminds me of the story of David. They said David was proclaimed king at 16 after defeating Goliath. But after between 16 and 33 or some age of that age, maybe 30, he basically had to wait. And there's a message in there about waiting and doing well while you wait, not waiting and being, down on yourself. Right. One day it's going to be my time. What are you doing while you waiting on your time to come? One thing I got to ask you, because we talk about this a lot offline. We talk about complacency and growth. ChatGPT. AI is here. We talk about ChatGPT, AI all the time.
Best thing since sliced bread. It's if people are opposed to it, that's only because they have not played with it. I can't see anybody having anything negative to say about it. If you have something negative to say about it, it's probably because you're not using it. It's a game changer. It kind of makes me jealous of the younger generation. I didn't have the internet when I was in college. We didn't have the internet.
Period.
I went to the library and looked in books and stuff like that. But now everything is at your fingertips. I'm kind of low-key jealous about that. But it all depends on how you operate in it.
Right.
So if you're not practicing or playing with it, then you just might as well be using the Dewey Decimal System again. So you got to, again, level up with your understanding that with growth, you got to change some things to figure out those things that need to be made easy. ChatGPT is amazing, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. Anything that simplifies is what I love. So
yeah, who don't like a simple life? Even before we were preparing today, I was trying to clean up in here and stuff like that. So because I'm all about decompressing and having declutter, so I get that. One thing I've admired about you for the longest is you stay connected to the next generation. You be in the know. You are not complacent. You gonna try something and do something. Where does that come from? Is that family, what upbringing? What is that?
That's an interesting question because I don't think I've ever thought about where it comes from, but
Or even the nature of your profession.
Yeah, definitely the nature of my profession. But even prior to that, I've always wanted to exceed. Like that was always a thing. And me and Ricky Nicholson went to grad school together, and he would call me the teacher's pet because if we had to turn in a paper, mine probably would have been bounded with a seal on it or something. Like I always did above and beyond because I wanted to excel. So I think just the idea of wanting to excel has shaped who I am. When I was in high school, my oldest sister gave me an audio cassette tape deck of Where There's a Will, There's an A. All right? And I listened to all of those things, and it's the little things that guy said in the tapes that shaped me from the end of high school all the way through college and beyond. Because, like I said, if I'm submitting something, I'm not just going to put a staple in the corner and give it to you. It's going to be jazzed up. Quality doesn't mean the substance of it might not be all there, but it's going to look good. So where there's a will, there's an A. It's kind of random that I thought about this since we were talking about it, but I know that sparked the little simple things with me wanting to excel. I'm gonna have to find that and look into it because that was a game changer for me.
Yeah, and it's the little things that make the biggest difference. You know, I was talking to a group of CNA students who just graduated earlier this past week, and that was actually the biggest thing that I think stuck out to them when I was talking to them was that just being likable can change your career. If you the person that's the drama starter, you always in the office, HR's office, your boss's office, whomever's office, you that person, you not going to get ahead versus the person who just is a nice person that people like to deal with. Right. You talked about one time just being safe, like being the person people can go to at work. Can you expound on that for the people that don't understand that?
It's funny because I had a Facebook post probably appeared this week from 5 or 6 years ago. Like, be nice. Like, you just have to be nice. If you're in leadership and you're not nice, your subordinates do not like you. And sometimes they will sabotage you because they don't like you. Like, just be nice. It'll take you so much further. And it's a simple formula that a lot of people don't get. And that's when it comes to leadership, it just burns me up to see someone in leadership that's mean. I'm your boss, for example, and I'm mean to you. But you could have the $1 billion idea that's going to take my company to a whole nother level. But you're going to keep it to yourself because I'm not approachable.
Right.
You're mean to me. And I wish people in leadership just be nice.
And I'm a millennial. So I'll leave.
You'll leave.
I'll be gone.
Exactly.
I'll be applying for jobs on your clock.
Exactly. So it's a simple formula for me. Just be nice. Like, it will take you so much further. I go to happy hour basically every day, and I observe people. If the bartenders are mean, they're going to get that in return from the customers. And most of the times, if it's just vice versa as well, just be nice to people. Like, if I'm a bartender and I'm mean, your tip depends on
my attitude.
My attitude. I would be the nicest person there is. Like, hey, what you need? Like, because I know that you're going to tip me. But
why do you think it's so hard for people to just be nice?
I think it may be a lot of underlying factors with that, because it could be home life, it could be whatever. But we all have issues. But you can still be nice. Sometimes I think you need to turn it on and off if you have to. Like, okay, I got issues at home, but I'm going in to be with these people. Let's go. I got a job to do. They don't need to feel my pain. Let's get this job done and keep it moving.
You know, one thing when you said that, it just kind of triggered me to think about something that we talk about a little bit offline, and especially when things happen. But a lot of, especially black men don't feel like they have a safe space, a safe place to go. Right. And they harbor a lot of things and don't open up and share and talk to somebody about things. Then something happens, and then we, sad about it. Like, what's your take on that? You've dealt with so many young people, young males, black, brown, and Hispanic, and white as well, and all races really. Right. Just what do you think when you see a masculine energy type of person, but don't want to crack that code to share that if they're dealing with something?
I think it comes to, and that's why I really appreciate it. I appreciate what we had with GENTS, because I think it opened us up to talk, to be vulnerable with other guys and things like that. But overall, I just with men and talking, it's a problem. Mm-hmm. It's a problem. It's mm-hmm. always been a problem. But I think when we're given more opportunities to talk, we will talk. But how often does that happen? How often do we say, okay, we gonna just go somewhere and talk? We don't do that.
Yeah.
So I also think, and I've talked to you about this, like I would love for people to be able to talk they stuff and not feel a certain way about talking. Like when you talking to me, I want Tony, this a free space. Talk your stuff, bro. Like, and I don't think we do that enough because sometimes people may get jealous, this, that, and the other. But being able to brag on yourself should be a part of a safe place. And I think if we're not in an arena or a group of people where we can brag, or not necessarily brag, but talk about our accomplishments. Yeah. Like, and not feel a certain way or feel uncomfortable with sharing what we've accomplished. We got to maybe look at doing it more often. Yeah. And I think that's going to be the thing for all of this with males, period, is the frequency of it. Yeah. How often are we doing this? I watched The Chi. I'm addicted to that. I've been watching it since it started, but now the guys meet as a group on there, and I love that. And they share, and they do it like maybe once a month, whatever it is. But the frequency of it opens them up to share, and I just think it's a good thing. But going back to what I just said, the space is not safe for people to discuss stuff, and it has to change. Yeah, and the change comes through frequency.
Yeah, I feel like I just learned something in that question and the answer that you gave. So I really I need to sit with that and listen again to this, and even just think about what that means, because I think you're really saying some real stuff, and it's more to the conversation, because then you got to talk about, how do you create the balance for those that don't have anything to share, any accomplishments in those spaces, and we talk about a little bit of that too. But that's neither here nor there. I want to actually quickly switch the subject to something a little more positive, and ask you to tell us about Africa, man.
Oh my gosh. You got time for that?
Yeah.
Africa was, I feel like I've been cheated my entire life.
Wow.
And I want everybody to understand that. Like, it was beautiful. The people were beautiful. Didn't have any problems. It's just an experience, probably the best experience I've ever had. And I traveled.
You travel a lot.
But this Africa was everything, and I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back. I did South Africa and the island of Mauritius, but I want to do other parts of it. But South Africa was, I'm blown away. The beauty of it, you got mountains, you got the ocean, you got wineries, it's amazing. And people's like, did the people stink? Somebody asked me that day. I'm like, it's not like you think at all. When I went to Johannesburg, it felt like I was in Houston, because I arrived that Friday. Saturday, I was there the entire day, and it was brunches and people sitting on patios and dressed up, and it's the mall. It's like the Galleria with all the Louis, Gucci, Fendi stores. Like, it's not like we have been deceived into believing.
Wow.
And like I said, I feel like I've been cheated. I really do. So there were parts when I did do the safari. I stayed in a safari camp in the tent, which was full immersion, and I loved every moment of it. But please, I'm telling everybody, put Africa on your list. South Africa, I can't speak on any other parts, but Johannesburg and Cape Town, amazing.
Yeah.
And the cost of living will blow your mind. Like it's just unbelievable. We did a wine tasting, tasted 8 different wines with different cheeses, and it was $8 US.
What?
8.
$8.
$8
to do a wine tasting.
I'm telling you, like everything like that is that cheap. So I'm just, it's just like unbelievable. Like it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
And it's just, now don't get me wrong. There is the extremely wealthy in South Africa, and there's the extremely poor in South Africa, which can be Houston. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want people to be deceived like everything is just like just amazing. But you know, you got River Oaks, and then you got parts of Houston that are not. Right. So it's the same. But I encourage everybody, put it on your list. The scenery is just breathtaking. It's breathtaking. People were nice. It was just amazing.
Would you say South Africa is the best entry point to start with, based on your experience?
Based on my experience, I would say yes. Like I say, I flew into Johannesburg and stayed there a couple of days, and then I did the safari for a couple of days, and I came back to Johannesburg. Johannesburg was nice, but Cape Town, it's just unbelievable. So I flew from Johannesburg. It was a 2-hour flight to Cape Town, and stayed there 6 days, and then I flew from Cape Town to Mauritius. But Cape Town, by far, was the best part of my trip, the best part of it.
Would you say that, you know, when you think about that trip being a culmination of your retirement and it kind of being the trip, did it live up to that expectation?
Beyond. Yeah, beyond. It was kind of like a last minute thing. I was like, I know I want to take a retirement trip. I reached out to one of my colleagues who just happened to be in Australia, because I was looking at Australia. I want to do that. We got 2 gents that live in Australia that I want to go see. But I reached out to her and told her, did she use a travel agent? I asked if she used a travel agent. She told me she did. So I contacted that travel agent, and she just started sending me packages. And she sent me the package for Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Mauritius. Mauritius has always been on my list. I met some flight attendants at McCormick and Smith one day, and they said, if you haven't seen the Indian Ocean, you have to see it. So that's why when I saw Mauritius was a part of that package, I say, this is the one. And it was on sale for 50% off. So I was like, this is meant to be. Yeah. So I booked the trip, and it was amazing. Man. So I'm ready to go again.
Man, that's amazing. Those little signs, those little things that lead you to the thing, like lean into that. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, just read some books about that kind of stuff, because it's true. Yep. Last thing I'll say, so Spikes for Anthony. Can you tell us how to support, how we as non-congressional members of caucus and all these things, what can we do to support this cause? Because it is something that is a serious thing and can be prevented by what you're trying to do, which is create those spikes so that there can't be any wrong way drivers.
Right. So long story short, with Spikes for Anthony, my brother was killed on his way to church April 13th by a wrong way driver. The driver died as well. One witness account that reached out to me basically said the guy was on a mission to kill somebody. So I just so happened to be sitting one day, and I was like, if they had spikes, you know, like they have at the rental car places, if you go the wrong way, you're flattening your tires. And I was like, if they had those spikes there, that could prevent some of this. But in my research and over time, over the last 60 days, I've noticed that several states have barriers like that, and they also have technology. I think it's Arizona has, where if there's a wrong way driver, it sends a text message alert, like an Amber Alert, to everybody that's in that specific area, because they can. And then they put it on the big screens on the freeways and things like that. So not just with the spikes, but with technology. That's what the Spikes for Anthony campaign is wanting to do. Just raise awareness, bring about some change. Texas does have the capability to do some of this, but nobody wants to fund it, and that's where my fight is right now. So to support the campaign, you can go to spikesforanthony.com, which has the link to our petition, change.org petition. You can buy a t-shirt. You can get all the information you need in regards to wrong way driving. My sister and I have been going through some data in regards to the number of deaths in the Houston area. And I think since my brother's death, there have been 4 more since April. So it's a problem, and we have to do something to address it, because otherwise it's going to keep happening. I don't want this to happen to any other family.
Yeah.
Like, I never would have thought that this would have happened to us. You know, we had heard about wrong way driving. You hear about it a lot. But then he didn't show up to church, and I went looking for him, and I found his car. And it was just like, whoa. So it can happen, and that's why I want to raise awareness. Again, like I said in the beginning, I feel like I'm being tossed around like a hot potato because no agency, government agency, wants to own it. So that's what the petition is going to come into play, because now we got some voices being heard with that. So I do give a shout out to Jolanda Jones, because out of all the people that I've emailed, she's the only one that responded. And then her department or her team has reached out to me twice since, and I truly appreciate that, because I have nobody else. So it's kind of like, it's getting on my nerves. But
how many people are you at now on the petition last time you checked?
This morning I checked, and we're right at 1,500. I think it was 1,490 something.
Yeah.
Within 1 week, which was great traction so far. And it's growing every day. I'll probably put another blast out, and then as a way I can send an email to everybody that's already signed to give them an update as well. So we're getting it together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those that are listening and watching, spikesforanthony.com, you can go on there and sign the petition. It's going to also be in the show notes for today. I want to thank you, BA. That's what we call him. It don't stand for nothing except his name. So inside joke. Inside joke. But it's been a great episode, and I want to thank you for joining. This podcast is all about breaking barriers and limitations. So thank you for listening to the Limitless Podcast. Have a good day.